go! This ain't the Rock Tyson force this game, he stinks!
Oh, shit!
It's gone!
Good evening, everyone. It's Monday night. We are the Sports Hounds exclusively on A2DRadio.com. I'm Rob Brinkman. He's Brad Ryer. Frank Vesby is producing the show. Each and every week, we are brought to you by FanUp. Is the best way to enjoy fantasy sports. Sign up now at FanUp, only on the Apple Store, and win your share of great prizes, daily NFL contests, and more. Sign up today. FanUp, that's only in the Apple Store. We're also brought to you by All Campus down on the Ocean City Boardwalk between 9th and 10th Street. 20% off everything in our store, including hats, shirts, and our team cornhole sets for all of our subscribers. You come down during the rant booth, 10% off while the podcast is going on for the Eagles pregame throughout the season. 10% off while the podcast is going on. You jump on with us, rant, air your grievances. We got a lot to talk about tonight. Week 8 in the NFL, almost in the books. We got one more game tonight. But we're going to get into all things NFL. It's going to be an NFL-heavy show tonight. Maybe we'll get into some other stuff as the show progresses. But, Brad, it's a big NFL show tonight. We had a big trade today. Von Miller.
Big trade deadline tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So you can expect a lot of stuff to go down.
Let's start with the poll question here. Our poll question brought to you by Body Check Wellness, a blend of Body Check Wellness, mental helps recovery with the extracts of topicals, gummies. Use promo code A2D for 25% off. Poll question tonight, Brad. I'm going to let you start it off. Agree or disagree? The Rams and Bills will face each other in the Super Bowl. What say you?
As of right now, I'd have to say, oh heck yeah. That injury to Derrick Henry. There's no way you can replace Derrick Henry. I'm sorry. I don't care who the Titans get. It doesn't matter. You can't replace Derrick Henry. You just can't. And I don't know how. They'll probably win the division somehow, but their whole offense revolved around him. I can't imagine what they're going to do. I guess they're going to go out and try to find a running back to.
Well, they did sign Adrian Peterson today, and it seems the way the Adam Schefter's.
He's 100 years old. I mean, there's no way he can possibly.
It looks like he's going to step in and start right away. There's going to be no grace period. There's going to be no training period for him to pick up the playbook. They are going to insert him into the lineup at once. Because really, past Derrick Henry, you have, a couple scat backs who don't really have much of a resume to speak of. And
Rob, they have 38 yards rushing from everybody not named Derrick Henry on the Tennessee Titans. So I just don't see how anything can happen with them.
So,
I mean,
obviously that changes the landscape of the American Football Conference there. And then the NFC was shaken up today. The Rams, who were already, to me, favorites in the NFC, they go out, they get Von Miller. They give up a second-round pick and a third-round pick. They bolster more star power on the Rams. They get Von Miller, excuse me.
Well, I mean, Von Miller he's a little past his prime, but he's still a hell of a player. And you know what? To put him with that entire group, oh my God, that team is going to be real tough to beat. The Dallas Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to have their hands full trying to deal with that Ram team. I just don't know how anybody's going to beat them.
See, because these are the two favorites. I don't see how anybody – I guess you can argue a couple teams in the NFC, Dallas being one of them, Tampa Bay. Green Bay obviously just beat Arizona. They're looking strong per usual.
True, but Arizona also – I know Green Bay wasn't completely healthy. They didn't have their star pass receiver. But DeAndre Hopkins means a lot more to to the Cardinals offense. I mean, just because of the fact that Aaron Rodgers is going to find somebody else to make them a star. DeAndre Hopkins is the key to that offense. So I think it would affect them more if DeAndre Hopkins is back. I mean, I don't think it's going to really. I think that puts them right back in the driver's seat again. But I mean, the Rams. I like the Rams anyway. Before all this,
Yeah, that was your.
That was my pick anyway. This just is one more, one more weapon to the arsenal, so to speak. One more bullet for the gun. I mean, that's loaded.
And then you go to the AFC. I don't see anybody beating Buffalo at all. They're well coached. Josh Allen's just on another planet. He's a terrific player. They go out, they cover a big spread yet again against the Miami Dolphins, a team that just beaten the brains in at home. I think it was 26-11 was the final.
I actually watched that game, Rob, and I'll tell you what, for the first half and half of the third quarter, the Dolphins' defense was really getting it done. They looked like last year, but it got to a point where Buffalo said, "Okay, we're just going to start throwing short passes instead of trying to keep going deep to Diggs," and they just tore him. Josh Allen just tore him up. They had no answer for it.
Miami's not very good, but they do what they have to do. They win at home against a division rival. I mean, I'm looking for teams like that I can make an argument for that can rival them. You have the Ravens in the North. They're the best team in the North. Cleveland is just too banged up and injured, and I was way off in my evaluation of them in preseason. The Steelers, they're not ready to beat a team like the Bills.
No.
I don't know what's going on with the Chiefs. We're going to see the Chiefs against your New York Football Giants coming up here in about 15 minutes.
I shudder to think what's going to happen tonight because I just have a feeling the Chiefs are going to take all their aggravation and all the frustration that's been going on, and they're just going to take it and they're just going to slam the Giants.
We're going to.
I just
have to find out a lot about the Giants tonight.
Yeah, it could get really bad with the Giants tonight. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't feel very good about the Giants.
And then you look at the South without Derrick Henry. I mean, Adrian Peterson, that's cute to sign him, and he's probably got a little left in the tank because he's just an absolute freak. But you can't tell me without Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill and A.J. Brown are going to lead them to beat a team like the Bills.
Let me ask you this, Rob. Saquon Barkley is probably going to be back, not this week, but next week. Do you think the Giants go ahead and pull the trigger and send him packing and just completely retool?
They have to do that by tomorrow at 4.
Could happen. I mean, if the Giants could add another first or a first round pick or a high second round pick for him, they might do something like that. I mean, the Giants aren't going anywhere this year.
I would hold Barkley.
Huh?
No, I would hold Barkley.
Yeah, no. I'm just saying I don't know what they're going to do. But that they're running. One thing about running backs, you can replace a running back. The problem is when you're talking about a running back like Derrick Henry, that you can't replace.
No, he's head and shoulders the best in the league. He's the best in the business at what he does.
He might be one of the 5 best of all time. That's how good he is.
He's the best running back I've seen since LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah, I think he's better than LaDainian Tomlinson, to be honest.
That means he's better than my boy LaShawn McCoy that played here in Philly. Was excellent running back.
I put him just below Jim Brown. That's how much I think of Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's unbelievable.
He's just a load to bring down. Like he's better than,
and he's fast.
I'm trying to think of guys that since LT that have come into this league like Derrick Henry. I mean, Larry Johnson, he had a cup of coffee. I think he had one 2,000-yard season or damn close to it. Then he was out. Like, you look at all the running backs today, Derrick Henry's clearly better than all of them.
He's head and shoulders better than anybody else.
I guess maybe you could make the argument Adrian Peterson in his prime with the Vikings.
Maybe.
But I think Henry's better.
I think he's better than Barry Sanders, and I think he's better than Adrian Peterson. I mean, the difference is that he can run you over or he can run past you. He's fast enough to run past people, and he's a bull. He's fast like, say, Tiki Barber fast, okay? And he's a bull like Jerome Bettis. I mean, it's like Jerome Bettis and Tiki Barber wrapped into one. It's incredible.
And you look at the AFC, so like the South is out, and then the South. Good God! Carson Wentz, he plays good for 59 minutes of the game, and then just has two giant brain farts in the last 2 minutes of regulation and overtime.
Yeah, that interception was ridiculous.
Which one?
The one in overtime was terrible. It was a terrible pass. There was a triple coverage. What was he thinking? How did he expect to? There were two guys right behind him, and then there was one guy right to the side of him. By the time he threw the ball, there were three guys there. So it was just a question of which one was going to end up catching the ball.
It's a mental thing with him, and he just, I don't know. The heat gets turned up, and he wants out.
He played well for 3 quarters yesterday. He really did.
He played well for more than that. He had 2 interceptions in the last 2 minutes of the game in overtime. Totally cost his team the football game.
No, he definitely did.
So that puts them at 3-5, and then the blessing in disguise is that they're not out of that division, because I don't know how the Tennessee Titans are going to look without Derrick Henry.
Well, they're going to get somebody. Okay, I know they got Adrian Peterson, but Adrian Peterson is not going to be able to run the ball, 20 times a game. There's no way that's going to happen. He's just signed off the street. I don't care how good shape he's in. Plus, at his age, you can't expect that to happen. They're going to go out and they're going to bring somebody in to help him out.
I guess they have till tomorrow at 4 to figure that out. But
somebody's coming over. For most.
And then you have the AFC West. I'm not buying the Raiders as good as they look so far this season. That they're better than the Bills. They can beat the Bills.
The Raiders might be the best team in the West this year. They just might be.
Well, I'll tell you one team out West that I am so not impressed with right now, and they come to Philadelphia next week, is the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, but they're gonna kill the Eagles.
You're probably right, but I am so after being really impressed with them and kind of sipping their Kool-Aid with Justin Herbert. They got bullied by the Patriots yesterday, and I don't think the Patriots are world beaters by any stretch of the imagination. So
they got a good defense, though.
The Patriots?
Yeah, they do have a good defense. You got to give that to them.
So, yeah. The Chargers, Herbert is good and has all the talent in the world, but, they can't stop the run. They didn't get any pressure yesterday on Mac Jones.
He also made to be honest with you, Herbert made a couple of mind-boggling.
Well, he threw that one, it was a tight end screen in the flat that I was able to see on the Red Zone channel. And no one was paying attention except the Patriots defender that picked the ball off and took it right to the house.
Yeah, the Chargers just looked Justin Herbert yesterday looked terrible. He looked like a deer in headlights yesterday, to be honest with you. I just don't think he was prepared. I don't think he has faced a defense like that, because let's be honest, in the AFC West, the defenses aren't great to be.
Yeah, and Denver stinks.
Yeah.
I guess, I'm not counting Kansas City out.
No, not by any means, because I think their offense, they'll start rolling. Tonight, I think they start rolling because after getting smoked by the Tennessee Titans, the poor Giants have to come to Arrowhead. And the Chiefs have probably been hearing a bunch of garbage all week about how bad they looked. And the Giants are going to be recipients of the anger and frustration of the last few weeks. I'm very nervous about them getting blown out tonight.
No, I didn't see inactives yet. Is Tooney in?
Tony is supposed to be. I heard he and both Sterling Shepard are supposed to be in. So that would be a great aid to their offense. No Barkley for sure. No Galladay for sure.
But I just don't see it. Are the Patriots going to squeeze their way into the AFC playoffs? I don't know, because Denver stinks. I'm not a believer in the Chargers as of now. If they mature as a football team and Herbert doesn't make silly mistakes like he made yesterday. Brad, they're also last in the league at stopping the run. You can't go into Buffalo in late January and be last at stopping the run. They'll kill you.
Yeah, no. Right now, Buffalo is clearly in the driver's seat. They're healthy. They're the healthy team right now.
And then you have, so I think we're like the Bills they're Super Bowl bound.
Right now,
I don't see anything or anyone that could possibly derail them.
The only thing that could derail them is an injury to either Josh Allen or Stephon Diggs.
I mean, I'm not going to think like that. I'll react to that if and when that happens. But
yeah, no. If they continue to stay healthy like they've been, then they should be. This could be their year to get to the Super Bowl.
It's a better debate about who the second best team in the AFC is, because I think the Bills are just so far ahead of everyone in the AFC.
I got to go with the Ravens, even though they got smoked by the Cincinnati Bengals. Then the Bengals the next week go and get their brains beaten by the Jets. I mean, it's amazing. The Jets have beaten two good teams, and the Jets are not a good team. Oh, I'll tell you what, that White yesterday looked terrific.
So, and then the 2 seed in the AFC, that you're coming down. Like, am I crazy for thinking that the Raiders are the second best team in the AFC through 8 games?
No, you're not. I happen to be right there with you about that. I think they're the second best team, and I think the Ravens are the third best team, which means Buffalo gets to play the number 4 team, whomever that's going to be.
That'll be the winner of the South.
Yeah.
Which I mean, look, I think, like, I've been a Carson guy for a long time now, but
he's not going to Buffalo and winning a playoff game.
Dear Lord, I mean, what transpired yesterday in that football game in terms of Carson Wentz's play and his just monumental just brain farts with turning the football over in the most excruciating ways possible. He's got to get a lid on that.
He also, I don't know if you saw the fumble, which the Colts did recover, but he takes the ball down on one play and he runs for 15 yards. And I kept saying to myself now, if I keep hearing Rob enough, he's going to end up fumbling. Watch this, and then he gets hit and he fumbles, and I could just hear you saying, "Oh, there you go."
Brad, but it's unbelievable. The guy fumbles a lot. But he always seems him or his teammates always seem to fall on the football.
Yeah,
he fumbles a lot, but they didn't. Oh, at least here in Philadelphia, I haven't watched enough Colts day to day to comment on it. But it seemed like in Philadelphia he would fumble a lot, but his teammates would either be there to fall on the football or him himself would fall on the football. So I don't get it. I don't get it with the guy. I don't understand how a guy that talented, and I do think he's a talented quarterback.
He's got a big arm, that's for sure. I mean, there's no question about his arm strength. He can throw the football.
But I mean, my God, like, he's got to chill because the Eagles need them to play 75% of the plays so we get their draft pick. Because at 3-5, by the way, the Colts have the same record as the Philadelphia Eagles. So at 3-5, like, their playoff hopes are slim to none right now, if you ask me. They get a little bit of a reprieve because I don't know how the Tennessee Titans are going to react to this Derrick Henry injury. Like, are they going to rally around Adrian Peterson and Ryan Tannehill and that offense? Because, Brad, let's face it, that defense has holes in it.
Their defense is not great. That's for sure. Look, they have good receivers. We know that. A.J.
Brown's a freak. He's a top 5 receiver. Him and Jamar Chase are 2 young guys.
We haven't heard a lot about Julio, but I suppose he's still there too.
Yeah, he's inactive again yesterday.
I don't know what's going on. Is he hurt or is he just not?
Yeah, he didn't play yesterday. He was inactive.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on with Julio, but Julio will probably be back in the lineup. They're gonna have to put him in.
Well, yeah, they need him to.
Did they just become a passing team now? Can Tannehill actually? Because Tannehill is he really a franchise quarterback that he can do that?
No, if you're going to ask Ryan Tannehill to throw the ball 45, 50 times a game, I don't think that's the type of player Ryan Tannehill is.
Yeah, I mean, he's never really, he's never had the kind of receivers with Miami that he does now. So I think they're going to have to at least try to do that. They certainly have enough receivers to do that, but they're going to need some help at running back. They'll find somebody. There's going to be somebody out there who they're going to find to be able to play and help them out. They're just not going to have the same effect as Derrick Henry.
And then like the Colts, they're not out of this thing in the AFC South because, like I said, I have no idea how this Tennessee Titans team is going to react to Derrick Henry being out. So at 3-5, the only bad thing is they've been swept by the Tennessee Titans already.
Yeah, so they're actually 2.5 games ahead of them.
So, I mean, they're still going to get to play Jacksonville and Houston, who they both stink. And we're going to get to the dreck of the league because there's some teams that just don't know what's going on in this league. But, I mean, we're going to start at the top. We're going to work our way through. And then you got wild card teams like Cincinnati. They're clearly not ready for the big time. You can't lose as an 11-point favorite against the New York Jets, albeit on the road, and
with their second-string quarterback, no less.
Tell me that you're beating someone in January.
Well, is Mike White going to be Russell Wilson? Is he going to come out of nowhere and all of a sudden be the savior for the Jets? I got to see that to believe it.
Hey, they deserve it because fans.
Listen, the Jets deserve to win the game yesterday. They played a good game yesterday.
They did. And their running back Michael Carter, I think he was a 3rd-round pick. He steps up, but a team that I just really wanted them to. I really wanted to see the Bengals just take hold of the AFC North and just take care of business against an inferior opponent like the Jets and just keep on rolling. Their defense was playing good. Joe Burrow was playing good. I mean, look, I don't know. I guess their defense took a snooze yesterday.
Their defense was terrible yesterday. The Jets, Mike White threw for 405 yards yesterday. The Jets haven't had a guy throw for 400 yards in 5 years.
Who did it? Sanchez?
No, Fitzpatrick.
Pulling out the old Fitz magic.
Yeah, back when the Jets, when Todd Bowles was there the first year he coached them, they were very, very good that year. If you recall, they ended up being 10-6. They choked in Buffalo because Fitzpatrick in a big game threw 3 interceptions in Buffalo before Buffalo became the team that they are now. They were still the dregs of the league that year, and the Jets went to Buffalo and coughed it up.
Yeah, so they won 10 football games and didn't make the playoffs, if I remember correctly.
That's correct.
So the Bills are sitting pretty here in the AFC.
I'm
really not counting out the Chiefs, but in terms of this conversation right now, the Chiefs can't beat anybody with the way they're playing defense.
Their defense is really shaky right now.
And this game's about to kick off here, the Giants and the Chiefs, and we're going to react live to it and just kick around to everything NFL until the flight zone comes on around 9:30. I'm sure they're going to be talking some Eagles, some Nick Sirianni, Mr. Flower Boy, getting it done yesterday, a 44-6 beatdown of the Detroit Lions.
How bad are the Lions? Oh my God,
Brad, the story of the game, and I was proud of my team yesterday. Anyone who thinks that
you played a real good game.
Well, wins are wins.
I give you credit for that. They played a real good game, but boy, the Lions are terrible.
Wins are wins, and I'm going to take the win because I don't know how many wins this Eagles football team has left in it, even though they do play a weaker schedule.
That's going to be. I got to be honest with you. That Lion team is the worst team we've seen since the 0-16 Browns.
Holy smokes, Brad! I mean, they are a different level of bad. Brad, they were favored in that football game.
Yeah, well, they won't be favored anymore.
No shot. Look, Jared Goff, if you stand back there and give him time, Jared Goff can pick. He's an accurate passer. He doesn't have the biggest arm. He's an accurate passer. But he can pick you apart in terms of accuracy and short passes. The Eagles blitzed for the first time all season, for the most part. They got in Jared Goff's grill, and they shook him up. They got a couple turnovers, and they just didn't let Jared Goff breathe. Another thing the Eagles did yesterday.
They ran the ball. They ran the ball yesterday.
They ran the ball 47 times, Brad, to 14 passing attempts. Now, I don't understand this. So I'm having trouble, and the fans here in Philadelphia are confused with Nick Sirianni. Because, you have Miles Sanders, who's your starting running back, pretty good player. I get on him a lot, but he is a pretty good player, to be fair. So it takes a 3-week ankle injury for him for you to run the ball. And then all year, when Miles Sanders is healthy, Kenneth Gainwell is getting snaps, getting the ball over Miles Sanders. Then Miles Sanders goes out, and then you want to run the ball 47 times, and you play Boston Scott and Jordan Howard over Kenneth Gainwell. So, the fans are confused. I'm confused. I don't know what to make of this guy. You know? Did this guy listen to the Sports Hounds? Did this guy listen to A2D Radio, 97.5, 94.1, social media, the whole kit and caboodle, and just be like, wow, maybe I should run the ball. But then it's so extreme that you're not
between the difference between the Eagles, because I'm seeing some of the comments, and I know a lot of you guys are making comments about the Lions have played everybody tough. The Lions in most of these games have fallen behind big and have come back late to make it a game. I think that they're so bad that they put a lot of these teams to sleep, and then they come back late because they still have some emotion and try to make a game of it. But that is a really bad team. I mean, when they played the Rams, they actually gave the Rams a good battle.
Yeah, but they were doing fake field goals, fake punts. They were going for it on 4th down. They sold out to win that game against the Rams.
Yeah, they tried. But the Eagles, one thing about the Eagles, and I give them credit, they didn't go in there and take that team lightly. They went in there with purpose, and they went in there and said, we are not losing to this team. This baloney stops now. And they went in there and they just put the old beat down to them. They just manhandled them at the line of scrimmage on both ends of the ball. And they deserve to win. They deserve to win. And that score is definitely indicative of how the game was. It was not a close game.
I mean, Brad, the Eagles, look, the highest paid players on the Philadelphia Eagles are on their offensive line and their defensive line. And they straight up bullied the Lions in the trenches. And that translated to a 44-6 victory.
They absolutely did. However, this week it's not going to be quite as easy against the Chargers.
No. Now, the Chargers have one of the worst run defenses in the league, so you can still run the ball, but you're going to have to throw the ball for some yards and more than 14 times to beat a team like the Chargers.
Yeah, and Justin Herbert is still Justin Herbert. He had a not very good game against the Patriots, but if he gets time to throw against that Eagles secondary, it could get ugly again.
Do I think that the Eagles are going to beat the Los Angeles Chargers next week? No, I don't. But I don't think that it is like an unclimbable mountain for the Eagles to beat the Chargers next week.
Nothing.
I really don't.
Nothing is unclimbable unless you're playing the Rams.
Unless you're the Lions.
Yeah.
You can't beat anybody.
No, the Lions are horrible, but we're talking about the Eagles. The Eagles are not. When you talk about bad teams, good teams, great teams, good teams, bad teams, and then just awful, I think you've got the Lions, Jacksonville,
Houston,
the Texans. They're awful. They're in a class by themselves of awful. Those three teams. Then you move up to teams like Miami, who have some ability, but aren't very good. That are bad. And then you go up to the next level, and you have the Giants, the Jets, the Bears, the Falcons. The Eagles. I think they're kind of in that. I think they're kind of in that area. They may be near the top of that area, but that's kind of where the Eagles are. They're not in the they're not in the playoff class yet. They have to prove. They're going to have to prove that they can beat a team that's over 500 before they can go there. They got beat by the 49ers, and the 49ers have won, 3 games this year?
Yeah, they beat the Bears yesterday, but the Niners aren't very good.
No, and that's – so the Eagles are maybe a step under mediocre, which is a lot better than what I thought they would be, to be quite honest with you. So you never know. Maybe they start improving throughout the season, and maybe they give it the old college try. We're trying to sneak in and get a wild card. They're not going to win the division. The Cowboys are too good right now. They're just way above everybody else in the NFC East. If you ask me right now, the Cowboys are the third best team in the NFC behind the Packers and the Rams.
And then, Brad, just to get back, I mean, the Lions, they can't even line up right.
No, they're just.
You talk about a coach that's in over his head, and we like to take our shots at old Nick Sirianni with some of his comments and his press conference and his just overall awkwardness and his lack of running the ball and his play calling. But at least he's not Dan Campbell. That guy stinks.
No. And you know what? And the Eagles are playing for him. You know, they're showing up every week and they're trying. I don't think they're a particularly well coached team, but the guy just started, so as a coach, so it maybe he needs a little more work as well. You can't really fire him at this point in the season. You got to let the season play out and see if he improves.
Campbell or Sirianni?
Sirianni. Campbell. I mean,
look, Nick Sirianni's he's not going to be a one and done, and we've talked about it here. There's precedent for one and done. But Jeffrey Lurie, the owner, is not going to want to be paying 3 coaches in 2022 because he's still paying Doug Peterson this year, and he's got to pay Doug next year. So if you fire Sirianni after 1 year, you got to pay him for the next 4 years.
Well, I think the Eagles are going to start getting better as the season goes on. Look, if you take a look at it, some of the teams they played, we didn't know the Raiders were as good as they were. I don't think anybody really respected just how good the Raiders are. We also didn't realize that the 49ers would be as lousy as they are. We didn't realize that the Chiefs would be as lousy as they are. But the Eagles at the time just weren't ready to handle some of these teams. Let's see if they can start. They had a nice game this past week. I know it was against a bad team, but you know what? You try to take that, you build positive momentum, and then you go into next week and you see if you can keep the Chargers under control. If you can keep the Chargers to maybe 24, 27 points, maybe you can score 30 against that team.
All right, let's get to some comments here. Then we'll get in the NFC. We'll get into some Monday Night Football stuff. And we got World Series tomorrow. We got basketball and hockey rocking and rolling as well. So Gleason's Bar. All our comments are brought to you by Gleason's Bar, located 6700 Mill Creek Avenue in Levittown, Pennsylvania. Use promo code A2D, 10% off your order whenever you dine in, take out, or online order. Gleason'sBarandSteaks.com. So the chat's humming. Look at Patrick Taylor. Go Cowboys. I mean, they're going to be out. They're going to be out and about. The cockroaches are going to be out. And then they're
going to come out of the woodwork now. So,
yeah. And if you weren't sold that the Cowboys were a good football team before last night, I mean, beating a competent Minnesota Vikings team with Cooper Rush at quarterback, that should tell you all you need to know. This division's over. The East is over.
Oh, there's no question about that. It's not even worth discussing because the Cowboys are going to win probably 12 games.
Minimum.
Yeah, and if you have a 8-9 team in our division, that might be pushing it.
Pete Evans, he's in the house. He disagrees with the poll. He's going with the Bucks and the Bills. Kind of a shot. Jameis Winston. Another big news that came across the wire today. Jameis Winston has a torn ACL. He's going to miss the rest of the season. Taysom Hill is injured. He was not active yesterday. So Trevor Siemian goes into the football game, and he proceeds to put up 36 points on the Tampa Bay defense. Saints are a good team. They're a good team, and they're about to get Michael Thomas back. And that defense is tough. That defense is mean. And that defense is physical. They are going to be an extremely tough out in the NFC.
Yeah, they're going to find a way. They're going to find a way to get into the playoffs.
I don't know. Can they find a quarterback before tomorrow at 4 o'clock? I don't know. Taysom Hill, he was inactive due to injury yesterday.
He's still in concussion protocol, and you just don't know how long.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I don't know how long he's going to be in that situation. He may, he hasn't passed the test yet to be able to get out of concussion protocols. They test them. I don't know what kind of tests they do, but
do you know what? Know who I bet you?
So.
Know who I would look at Nick Foles if I was the Saints.
Nick Foles would not be a bad addition.
You got an offensive guru like Sean Payton down there. You have Kamara in the backfield. You're about to get Michael Thomas back. You have some pieces there at receiver with Traquan Smith and Deontay Harris, and
you got
some tight ends there. Pretty good offensive line. He could be satisfactory enough in New Orleans to manage. I mean, all he really needs to do is game manage that team. They've got enough. They got enough talent offensively to absolutely win games with him as quarterback. I mean, I wasn't really sure about the Saints before the season. Drew Brees retires. You got Jameis Winston in there. He's kind of a knucklehead, but they got a big win in Seattle last Monday night, and now they get a big win at home over the defending champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So they're only one game back of Tampa Bay in the NFC South now, with a victory at hand. So this Saints team is for real. But I mean, that's totally valid.
Well, I think they're going to be. I think between Tampa Bay and the Saints, you're going to have one of those is going to be a wild card team. I think I feel pretty strongly about that. I think that you're also looking at in the NFC West between the Rams and the Cardinals. One of those two teams is going to be a wild card team. So that's two wild cards. So really, the rest of the wild card situation is kind of locked up in. The teams in the NFC East can,
I'm not buying the East getting a wild card. I'm not buying the NFC North getting a wild card. So, can Seattle put things together? Can they keep their head above water until Russell Wilson's able to play? It looks like he got his pin out today in his finger, and it looks like because they have 2 games, then a bye.
What's their record right now?
They're 3-5.
Okay, so they're 3-5 too. So
I think a team with a stinky record is going to be a wild card in the NFC.
I would have to agree with you. So if you look at it, the Eagles, if they can raise their level of play, and they're going to have to really raise their level of play, maybe they could sneak in as the third wild card. But with 3 wild card teams, I mean, who knows? Listen, you have games, 2 games against the Washington football team. You have 2 games against the Giants. You have a game against the Jets. Those are 5 games that they could definitely win. Okay? Now, also, I mean, as much as I hate to say it, but those are also 5 games they could lose, too, because you just never know.
Nothing's guaranteed for the season.
No, I know that. I'm just saying those are 5 winnable games. If they were able to win those games, that's 8 wins right there. And they pull off one upset, and bang, they're in the playoffs.
It's possible. The Chiefs get the ball first here on Monday Night Football. Giants 2-5, Chiefs 3-4.
This is a big game. I mean, this is a big game for the Giants, too. Because we just talked about a team with a stinky record in the NFC is going to make the playoffs. The Eagles are 3-5, and they have a shot. If the Giants could get to 3-5, they'd have a shot too. I mean, and they would consider the Eagles a team that they could beat as well. And the Washington football team, they should have won the game. They should have won the first game. I would think that they would have lots of confidence in the second game. But it starts tonight. I just don't see them beating the Chiefs. I don't see them stopping them. I think the Chiefs are going to put up over 40 tonight, and it's going to be a long, long night for the Giants.
They've run 3 kind of checkdowns.
The Chiefs have lost too many games, Rob, and the frustration level has to be boiling over right now. I just don't see the Giants being able to stop this team. I mean, it's kind of a shame, but I don't see it.
I mean, they're getting 10.5. I don't have a playoff. I didn't play the game tonight. I took my lumps over the weekend. I didn't pick very good. But, I mean, if I had to pick, I would probably lay the 10.5 with the Chiefs.
Oh, I would definitely lay the 10.5 because first of all, the Giants won 25-3, so they won by 22, and we discussed the 21 point the teams that win 21 by more than 21 points generally don't cover the spread. Something like between 66% and 70% of the time the following week. So that's that they have that against them. Plus, Kansas City is so due. Yeah, here's another guy wide open.
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
Giants
Mahomes
seem
is
to
picking them
not
apart
want to
right
get
now.
beat deep.
Yeah, but you know what? It's pick your poison. They're either going to get beat deep or they're going to get beat short. The Giants just don't have the defensive personnel to stop this team. The Giants play way too soft a zone to be able to stop Kansas City. And believe me, I've watched the Giants play almost every game. I know what I'm talking about when it comes to the Giants. They give their receivers way too much room. That's why all these teams have so many long drives against the Giants. See Mahomes again going short, and the Giants have no answer. Have they even gotten to third down yet? I don't even think they've had a third down yet in this drive. And that's not a good thing, by the way. So it's going to be rough. But bottom line, Rob, 3 wins, you're in it. So if you're looking at a team like Minnesota has 3 wins. I guess you have to say that they're in it as well. Although Kirk Cousins has been god awful this year in big games. And last night, once again, he showed why he's not a big game player. And now they're showing with the Giants how often they've allowed pressure, and they're the lowest. They're the lowest in the league, the Chiefs. So it really is going to be on the Giants to have to try to find a way to put pressure on the Chiefs and keep things going. And yet here's another play in the flat, and they're moving the ball downfield. It's like a knife through butter right now. Yeah, there's nobody out in the flat, and it's just awful, just awful.
All right, I'm back. Yeah, I mean, look, and I don't know what the right way to play defense is here in this new NFL where you can't really guard anybody, you can't hit the quarterback. There's flags almost every play. But I mean, these teams that just are content with getting death by 1,000 cuts, I mean, that doesn't work for me. I would rather bring pressure, be aggressive, get beat deep, get the ball and try and match than just let someone go down the field on me, take half a quarter, and be up 7-0.
No,
Look, I mean, it's 2nd and 5. There's 10 minutes left in the first quarter, so 5 minutes have already gone by. It's a 9-play, 63-yard drive to start the game. I mean, the Giants aren't bringing pressure. It's check down city, and the Chiefs are just so explosive that if you check down city, then
now here's a jet sweep to here's a jet sweep to Hill, and Hill has a first down.
I mean, they did a pretty good job defending that, and Hill still was able to pick his way through the defense and get a 5-yard first down.
That's the thing. They're just getting huge chunks of yards, and the Giants played that well.
I can't advocate playing defense like that. I really can't. This death by 1,000 cuts that defenses seem to be content with getting beat by, that doesn't work for me. Bring a linebacker, bring a safety. I remember watching Jim Johnson when I was a little kid. He would bring corner blitzes. He would bring it for safeties, linebackers, just from everywhere. And offenses didn't know what to do.
Maybe they'll do that. Maybe the Giants can hold them to 3 here. That was probably the best defensive play they've made since the game began. They actually held them to 2 yards on that play.
And it's 2nd and goal here, and this is a must-win for your Giants. An absolute must-win.
Absolutely. The Giants haven't even played the real tough part of their schedule yet.
And that's the one thing I can look at as an Eagles fan. Like, the gauntlet of the Eagles' schedule was early. That's a good stand right there. I mean, they flushed Mahomes out, and then they covered it well, and now it's going to be 3rd and goal. This is a big play. Because if you can
hold them to a field goal here, that would be a huge mental boost for the Giants. But I just have a funny feeling that Travis Kelce might be in a situation.
Hold them to 3. Like, you're boxed in as an offense, you know, to having at least a sustained drive to some degree.
Kelce is at the bottom of the screen.
I actually think that's a really smart timeout there. Have your defense catch its breath, get some water, get a good plan, get together. So I actually really like that timeout there.
Joe Judge did the right thing. Also, if you took a look, Travis Henry was down 1-on-1 on the near side of the field. So, and Joe Judge saw that and said, okay, because I had just mentioned it before he called the timeout. Kelce's on the far side 1-on-1. The Giants can't cover him 1-on-1. I mean, he's the one in this area of the field that you really have to watch, because he likes to go to Kelce in these situations.
So this is a big 3rd down. We'll go to this. We'll get to some chats, and we'll talk about we'll get some comments, and we'll talk some NFC, big picture NFC stuff, because there's Mahomes. Get him.
Yeah, too much time.
Wow. Wow.
Look at this.
Wow.
Holy cow. Oh, and they even get the touchback. Wow, what a job by the Giant defense on the goal line. Wow, that is that is not something you would have expected.
I mean, that's not the greatest. Look, number one there, whoever that is, he's not really paying attention as much as I would like to see my receiver play attention. Who's that? Julian Love out of Notre Dame, number 20.
Throwing the ball with 3 receivers in the air. I mean, what was Kansas City? What was their offensive plan with that? There were 3 pass receivers in the area, and there were 3 Giant players in the area. I mean, that you can't run patterns where everybody is within 3 or 4 yards of each other. There's just too much traffic.
And Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs on offense, their turnover woes continue. That's a really big stop for the Giants. Now you need to really, if you're the Giants, you really need to put a drive together. Like,
and you need to make
your best.
And you need to make them. You need to make them pay. Jones needs to make them pay for their indiscretions here. We got to get Tony involved. Tony is back now. He is playing. And that's going to be a big deal. Sterling Shepard is playing. That's a big deal. So he's got to get all these guys. He's got some weapons to throw to. He doesn't have any running backs, that's for sure. But he's got some weapons to throw to, and they need to get things going now.
Like, they need to look at their play sheet.
Kansas City's defense has been just awful. So Giants need to get it going. Very impressive stop there.
If I'm Jason Garrett right now, Brad, I'm looking at my play sheet and I'm finding the best 5 plays I can. And that's what I'm doing.
They usually script their first series.
I'm off script right now because you got to get a couple first downs here. You got to get some chunk plays. You got to make Kansas City play. More importantly, you got to reward your defense with a break that just really stepped up and made a big play on the goal line.
Yeah, well, look, they rushed Mahomes. They got him moving, and they had everybody covered. And Mahomes, because he was running around, did have a lot of time. They kept their poise, and they didn't let anybody get away. And that's the kind of play that you have to make to pull upsets on the road, especially in Arrowhead. The Chiefs, it's kind of shocking. But they got this again. Look how many guys are in the immediate area. Look, there's 3 receivers. There are 3 receivers on that side of the field, and there's 3 Giants. So, and then the 4th one came in and made the interception. You can't throw the ball when you've got that many guys so close together. I do not like this call, by the way.
I don't like that. I don't like that play call even a little bit, Brad.
I mean, I would like to see them get Jason Garrett get a little bit more aggressive. At least
get
let
aggressive,
Daniel Jones
then get
run it.
conservative.
Yeah, Daniel Jones can run. Daniel Jones is a very good athlete. He can run the ball. You saw the catch he made last week. A one-handed catch. He might be the best. He might be the best receiver on this team right now too. So, I mean, they gotta let him. They gotta let him open it up and play. Oh no! Look at this. Oh boy. That's
so
terrible.
The New York Giants, Daniel Jones and the New York Giants offense did exactly the opposite of what I told them to do.
No,
I mean, this is really a bad interception, Brad.
It's terrible. Let's see what happened here. Who was he throwing the ball?
The linebacker's standing right there.
That was a terrible
He's
pass.
standing right there the whole time.
That was a clueless pass by Daniel Jones. Just a clueless pass.
I mean, holy smokes. I mean,
now it just becomes a continuation. Of getting 4 more shots from inside the 10-yard line. That's almost impossible. No, excuse me, from the 13-yard line. And now the Chiefs have a little room to operate. They'll probably go for it right now. No, they do a running play. No, that doesn't matter. Rob, we're used to this this kind of stuff with the Giants. This is what we see every week with the Giants. It's always something. Somebody makes a good play and then somebody else just completely screws things up. And this has been going on all season with this team. So at this point, they've got to find a way. They got to find a way to be able to solve these. Now this was played well. Yeah, Hill for a quick loss.
All right, let's get back to some comments here. We'll continue to update you on the game. We're watching the game here. We're kicking around the NFL. We talked about the AFC earlier. We're going to talk about the AFC down the stretch of the show here. Keep it locked here on A2D Radio all night. We got the Flight Zone coming up with Evan and Jimmy coming up around 9:30 following the Sports Hounds.
Well,
Adrian Peterson, we touched on Von Miller. Jay Koch, the Cowboys will be one and done. Boy, I don't know because they're going to get a lot of luxury down the stretch here because they're going to clinch rather early in this NFC East. So they're going to have every chance possible to get Dak healthy.
Yep. That's absolutely
you look
true.
at the Cowboys, I think the Cowboys are better than the Packers. I really do.
They might be. Their Cowboys are good. I hate to say it. They're really good. I don't know that they're better than the Packers though. That needs to be proven. There's the touchdown right there. See, the Giants couldn't stop them 7 times inside the 15-yard line. That's impossible against a team like Kansas City. So now they're down 7-0. And you know what? Daniel Jones has got to be better than that. He can't be throwing. He can't be making.
Brad, there was no disguise. It's not like he stunted. It's not like he fake blitzed. It's not like he blitzed. He just stood in his position.
That was a terrible decision. I don't know why he would throw a pass like that right to the guy. It just didn't make any sense. The Giants they play their hearts out. They get the big turnover and then their offense hands it right back to them.
But in terms of
the Chiefs, you can't expect them to stop the Chiefs twice.
And you look at I think the Cowboys are the second best team in the NFC. I think it's Rams, Cowboys, Packers, Cardinals.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, they did beat the Cardinals without Devontae Adams, and that does count for something. Most
and
definitely.
Aaron Rodgers, he's just
the difference, though. Yeah, the difference is that Aaron Rodgers can make a ordinary receiver look great, and
I forgot to mention Tampa.
Yeah, Tampa.
Is Tampa better than Arizona? Is Tampa better than Green Bay?
I don't know. With the
And
way
then you have the Saints in there somewhere too.
With all the injuries, I'm not going to put the Saints in a category with all those teams yet. I think the Saints.
I don't know why you wouldn't. I mean, they're 5-2, and they just put 36 up on the champs.
Yes, they did.
So
but
I don't know why you wouldn't put them at least somewhat in that category. Do I think they're as good as their team? No, but
they're very inconsistent though. If you look at them, they've lost. They crushed the Packers, but then they got beat by the Panthers. Now I understand that the Panthers had McCaffrey when they played them, so that is a completely different story with the Panthers when McCaffrey's playing as opposed to when McCaffrey's not playing. But that's asking a lot. We'll see with the Cowboys. We'll see how good their defense really is. Their defense, they've been monsters against these bad teams. I mean, they really haven't. The only good team they've really beaten this year is. I'm trying to remember who they played. They played
the Saints.
The Cowboys.
Well, they beat the Chargers.
They're a pretty good team. They beat them on the road. They beat Minnesota on the road.
Yeah, but I watched the Cowboys play, and I understand that their strength of schedule isn't as prominent as some of these other teams that we're talking about. But I watched the Cowboys play.
They've been slaughtering everybody. That's the thing.
Just the way they're doing it. Their defense is much improved, which I kind of told everyone that was going to be the case.
Absolutely.
Parsons and Diggs are monsters. Randy Gregory's a monster. Their offensive line, I don't want to say it's as good as it was, it's with some of them Romo teams, but it's pretty damn good this year.
Oh, yeah.
And they are running the football. Ezekiel Elliott looks terrific, and Tony Pollard is a tremendous compliment to Ezekiel Elliott.
He's probably the best number 2 running back in the NFL right now, Pollard. And maybe it's because of the fact that they have such a great offensive line, but Pollard is really good.
John Malmos, he's in the house checking us out on YouTube. Where's Cox going to go? Fletcher Cox is going nowhere. He makes too much money. I read online today that it would be an upwards of a $45 to $50 million dead cap hit if they were to trade Fletcher Cox. Fletcher Cox is here to stay. Fletcher Cox will finish his career as an Eagle. Same thing with Darius Slay. Darius Slay, I would be shocked if he's moved tomorrow. Guys on the Eagles, but, I don't even know because, what do you do if you're going to sell after a 44-6 win? I don't know how that would go over.
It kind of depends on on who they're getting rid of and what they get. Now, if you get a couple more first-round picks, you could trade somebody.
Well, you're not getting first-round picks for Darius Slay or Fletcher Cox.
No. You're not even close. And Jason Garrett continues to be extremely conservative. And
I don't understand, Brad, what these offensive coordinators these days, they're infatuated with running the football out of the shotgun. And it just doesn't make any sense to me.
It's okay if you got good running backs. Saquon Barkley were out there, okay, but the Giants are trying to pick up the tempo, and they don't have the running backs to be able to do that. And they need to throw the ball down the field. Stop dinking and dunking. It's ridiculous. And that's a good play call against a blitz, but that's a 3-and-out. Your defense is going to go right back on the field. And they didn't get a first down. And again, the play calling is awful. And we've been very much on Jason Garrett all year about the fact that we can't stand Jason Garrett. Don't understand why Joe Judge hasn't taken the play calling away from him, because the Giant offense has been a problem all season. And I really kind of blame him for just being so conservative. If Daniel Jones isn't the answer, then fine. Let him throw the interceptions, throwing the ball down the field. But you can't go 3-and-out on the Chiefs. I mean, you've got to score almost every time you get the ball. You got to get at least 3 points against this team, because if the Chiefs get 10 possessions, okay, they're going to score a touchdown and at least 5. That's a given. Okay, so that means that's 35 points. The Giants, how are the Giants going to score 35 points if they're going to run the ball on if they're going to throw passes where guys are covered, 3-yard passes down the field, and then run into the line and then throw a screen pass on 3rd and 10. It just their offense makes no sense. You've got guys who can run. Some of the receivers are pretty fast. Take advantage of them, and they don't. And this is the Jason Garrett situation. He's just not good, and we have to put up with it every week. So, this is going to be one of these weeks. And I've said it all day. I think the Giants are going to get absolutely smoked tonight because Kansas City is so due to start rolling, and the Giants are just the perfect remedy for a team like Kansas City, especially the way they play off the ball, and they're always willing to give you the 5, 6, 7-yard pass all the time. And they don't put pressure on. It's a whole mess with the Giants. They won last week, but they beat the Carolina Panthers, who are an awful team without Christian McCaffrey. It's you take a look at that team. The Eagles beat them on the road, and then they go to Giants Stadium and lose 25-3. That's an awful team too. So the Giants haven't exactly. They beat the Saints, and they played a great game. I don't understand how they can play so well against the Saints, and then just look terrible all the other weeks. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Benny Nation, checking us out on YouTube. He has the Rams and the Ravens in the Super Bowl.
That could happen. The Ravens are an awfully good football team. Yeah, they had a bad week against Cincinnati, but you know what? The way the Bengals played just last week against the Jets yesterday, I don't trust that team at all.
And are the Ravens, are they going to be able to go out and get somebody? Because I think they need a running back. They were ravaged by injuries in the preseason, and I think you need a little bit better running back than Latavius Murray to complement what Lamar Jackson can do for you on the ground, because Lamar Jackson has progressed as a thrower. Marquise Brown has emerged as a pretty good wide receiver for them. Mark Andrews is a really good tight end.
I think you can always find a running back. That's just my opinion, but you can't always find a running back. That's pretty much true. There are second and third string running backs all over the league that are talented, that can play in the league if they're given a chance. So if you're looking for a running back, I think you can always find one. Receivers are a little more difficult. Quarterbacks are freaking impossible. But when it comes to the other stuff, there's always the chance.
Blue Empire Sports, we talked about the Von Miller, just the rich get richer. It's a real life dream team out there in Los Angeles. I think they're prohibitive favorites to not only win the NFC but win the whole thing.
Yeah, I would think so. That team is just loaded with talent.
Bryce Blackwell, Fletcher Cox is not getting traded, unless he's not getting traded. He makes too much money.
Nobody can. They can't trade Fletcher Cox right now. They just can't. It's not financially feasible for them to do that.
Bryce Blackwell, that call was bad on the Bengals. That was a bad helmet-to-helmet call. I don't understand how they can throw the flag on some of these personal fouls, but push comes to shove. The Cincinnati Bengals defense gave up, 425 yards to a relative unknown quarterback in Mike White.
They gave up 405 yards to Mike White.
That's inexcusable. You don't deserve to win the football game if you're going to play that bad against a quarterback no one's heard of ever.
No, I don't even know. I don't know what school he went to. I don't even know what round draft pick he was or where the heck he's been. But it's quite a story for 1 week. But that's inexcusable, and I don't trust Cincinnati anymore. That was a terrible loss. And I understand the Titans lost the game to the Jets as well, and the Titans lost with a healthy team. But the Jets are now at a point where they're going to win a few games. They're not going to go 2-14 again. But there's no way a team like Cincinnati should be losing a game like that. That's just inexcusable.
John Malmos with a good Eagles point there. It's a shame Miles Sanders isn't healthy. We might have been able to get a second-day pick for him. If Miles Sanders were healthy and you float him out there, the Tennessee Titans or the Baltimore Ravens, maybe you get a third-round pick for him.
Absolutely.
Maybe you can still get a third-round pick for him. Maybe not. He's only out for 2 more games. I mean, he's got the sprained ankle. He's on IR, so he's out for 3 games. Detroit was obviously that first game. But, maybe he's a guy that gets moved by Howie after you run the ball with Boston Scott and Jordan Howard yesterday. And you have Kenneth Gainwell, who the coaching staff seems to like based on the first
and it definitely
6 games of the season.
Out of favor. Uh-oh. Oh, hey,
that's a good stand. I mean, that's a good stand by the Giants.
Yep.
Defense is doing their part. Daniel Jones needs to get his head out of his keister and start making good decisions.
How about letting him throw the ball down the field? That was a good job by the Giants. They forced Taysom Hill to the sideline, and he may have had a step, but you would have had to make an absolutely perfect pass to squeeze it in and have him catch the ball in bounds. So, again, the Giants' defense coming through and keeping them in this football game. The Giants got to start doing something offensively. And once again, the Giants backed up.
Will Middlebrook, that's because the Lions played the Rams tough. That's why they were favored. Benny Nation, Lions have been in every game with the exception of yesterday. The Lions stink, guys. They absolutely stink. They can't even line up right. You have a coach.
The Lions were way behind in almost all the games. They were they were 3 scores behind in almost all the games, and came back late to make it close. That's if you want to say that the games were close because they came back late, okay. But the Lions are terrible. I don't know that the Lions are even going to win a game this year. That's how bad they are. I think they definitely could go 0-6, 0-17. I think that's a real shot for them to do that.
John Malmos trade Cox to Kansas City for a second-day pick. I mean, the money just doesn't work. Fletcher Cox makes too much money, and I have a hard time trading veteran leaders after a 44-6 win, albeit against a stinky Lions team. Let's build. Let's build on this as the Philadelphia Eagles. Nick Sirianni, let's build on this. Jonathan Gannon, let's build on this. Offensive and defensive line, let's build on this. Jalen Hurts, build. Because if you beat the Chargers, this town's going to be buzzing. You know how Philly fans are. They're going to be buzzing. If they find a way to beat the Chargers, this town is going to be a buzzing with playoff talk. So, I have a hard time trading key veteran leaders after a 44-6 win. I know the tanking thing is the that's like the it thing, but after the Sixers tanked and it failed and it didn't work and they couldn't get out of the second round before the tank and they can't get out of the second round after the tank, that means it failed and it's not the way you do business in professional sports. So.
No, you got to try. You got to try to. He certainly has some equity to try to bring in some players. That's for sure. But again, then you get back to the whole thing: is Jalen Hurts really a franchise quarterback?
Julio Figueroa, he's all hopped up. Eagles can easily go 10-7, 11-6, or 12-5. I'd sign Howard and Sanders to 5 years. That combo is serious, and add Scott or Gainwell. Look, let's calm down. Let's calm down, Julio. Miles Sanders is a middle-of-the-road running back. You should not be signing running backs like Miles Sanders to 5-year deals. Jordan Howard, I mean, he couldn't even get on the field until yesterday. That should tell you what you need to know about him. Boston Scott, I will say, is quietly putting together quite a solid NFL career. I know you don't like Boston Scott, Brad, because every time the Eagles play the Giants, he runs wild.
He plays like Gale Sayers against the Giants. I mean, it's unbelievable. The guy gets more yardage in one game against the Giants than he does for the entire rest of the season. He makes his living against the Giants. We've had that conversation before. Holy smokes!
What a disastrous play right there for the Giants.
That's just awful.
the lineman's in front of the running back. Daniel Jones can't decide whether he wants to give it to the back.
Well, the problem is the offensive line completely broke down. Number 95 is in the defensive backfield before anybody can do anything. I mean, that wasn't Daniel Jones' fault. That was
I mean, there's clearly a snap count issue. Whether the
number 95, I mean, Daniel Jones looks up to hand the ball off, and number 95 is standing right in front of him. I mean, my God, that's just its offensive line is just disgracefully bad. It looks like the Chiefs jumped, so that'll be an extra 5. They'll get the 5 yards back.
Julio Figueroa, I'm assuming that this is in reference to the Los Angeles Chargers. They won't win in a 55-degree or lower weather, and if we play how we did against Detroit, we will. Look, for the Eagles to beat the Los Angeles Chargers next week, you're going to have to throw the ball 14 times, more than 14 times in the football game. Like a 47-14 run-pass split is not going to be able to beat a competent team like the Chargers.
No.
Okay, I know they have their problems against the run, and I know they have their problems, getting after the quarterback, which I can't even fathom because there's a lot of talent on that defense, at least on the surface. As an outside viewer, they seem to. But, I mean, it's not an unwinnable game. But Jalen Hurts is going to have to make some throws next week. And they're not going to win the game 44-6 if they do win.
No, if they do win, they'll kick a field goal right at the end of the game or something along those lines. It's going to take a lot for the Eagles to win that game. They're going to have to do a lot of things right. There's a lot of guys. Oh, here we go. Now we're throwing the ball.
I mean, that should be interference. Did he catch it? He caught it anyway.
He caught it anyway. What a catch!
Who's that? Slayton?
No, it's Ross, I think.
John Ross?
Yeah, I think that was John Ross that caught.
He ran like a 4-1 at the 40, and everyone freaked out, and he went really high in the draft because of it.
Yep. I think that was John Ross. That wasn't Slayton. I don't think. Was it? Let's take a look.
I don't know. I don't know their numbers.
12 is Ross.
Well, good for you. You just made a good play on the ball. You got pass interference, and now the Giants are in business.
Yes, they are.
See what happens when you throw the ball down the field? Now,
what are we doing here? Oh, jeez.
It worked.
Okay, well, we got a first down out of it.
That's Shepard, number 3. I know that because he's got the same number as Allen Iverson. Is Rodney Mccloud a trade candidate for the Eagles? I would say no. He's a starting safety. Look, I can't. You already have 11 draft picks next year. Whether it's a first-round pick from the Colts or a second-round pick from the Colts, you're going to have 11 draft picks. That's half a team you can bring in. How many do you want? Especially when you can't draft. I mean, we could talk the next 45 minutes about the Eagles' inept draft strategy. So you want to line up all these draft picks. That's all well and good if you're playing Xbox. We're not playing Xbox. This is real life. You have to field a team and be competitive. Tanking doesn't work.
You have to be better than that. The Giants will have a first and goal on the 6-yard line. And they get the ball to Booker, and Booker gets ahead to the 3-yard line.
Bryce Blackwell, do we get a lot of trades tomorrow?
Yeah, I think we do.
League-wide? I don't know. In terms of the Eagles, I think Miles Sanders could be a potential trade candidate if a team is willing to, like the Titans or the Ravens is willing to sit on him for a couple weeks while his ankle heals up, and maybe you get him going for the stretch run. I would look at the corner, Steven Nelson, who's on a 1-year deal. Maybe you can get a little something for him. Andre Dillard would be a guy to maybe look out for because you still have Lane and you signed Mulata to a big contract in preseason. But, I mean, there's always a lot of bark around the NFL trade deadline and not a lot of
there never seems to be too many trades with the NFL.
You had one today. And then I said, I think Nick Foles is a perfect fit in New Orleans. But
I'll tell you a guy that I'm kind of hoping the Giants trade, and that's my favorite tight end, Devin Ingram. Ugh. I mean, if they could get a second or a third for him, oh my God, I would drive him to the airport.
But I mean,
I've heard his name. I've heard his name a lot in the trade rumor. In trade rumors, I've also heard Bradbury's name for the Giants.
I wouldn't trade. He's a good player.
Yeah, I know, but they could get a lot for him.
I would hang tough. I would
keep him. I would keep him, but I don't know what Gettleman's going to do.
You need a foundation, Brad. You need a foundation of good players to build around. And James Bradbury is terrific. I wouldn't trade him at all.
Logan Ryan is another guy that could go. I've also heard talk that Odell Beckham might end up with the Packers.
Look, I don't know. I don't think Odell Beckham Jr. is. I don't know.
I don't know what the deal is. It's not working for him. Clearly not working for him in Cleveland for whatever reason. I don't know if he's lost a step or he and Baker just never seem to get on the same page. I don't know. I think if he was with Aaron Rodgers, I would think that there probably would be, and Devontae Adams on the other side. That would definitely put them in a position where they could compete very well with the Rams.
Benny's Nation, I agree with you. Lane Johnson battling depression. I'd be careful about moving Dillard. I would almost want to move Lane over Dillard and just go young. Dillard at left tackle, who showed I didn't hear his name a lot when he was starting when Lane Johnson was battling his depression. And then you have Mccloud on the right side. And then you have Dickerson as a guard with center and waiting for whenever Kelsey decides to hang him up. There's first and goal for your Giants here, Brad.
Yep. Well, he was being held.
Shepard
was being held.
That was second and goal. I'm sorry.
Sterling Shepard was getting held. Whatever.
Bob Brinkman, Lions are a bad team. They got back-to-back penalties for 12 men on the field.
That wasn't a hold?
I guess not.
Boy. These officials. Oh, come on! You should have. Jesus Christ! They could have gotten the 12 men on the field.
That's a good comment by Mike McFly. Checking us out on YouTube. Saints should call Cam Newton. That's interesting.
Look at this play. Did he get in?
He did not. It's fourth and goal. I go for it here.
I would too. Where they're definitely going to go for it. He's not going to kick a field goal in this spot. Judge may not be the greatest coach in the world, but he does have balls. He's not going to do that. How far away is the ball actually from the goal line?
Looks like it's a yard.
No, I think you got to put the ball in Daniel Jones's hands and let him run the ball.
That's more than a yard. It's more like two and a half yards.
No, it's one.
He's got him. That's a good play. That's a good throw.
Go. Nice play.
So the Giants are live here. Live 10-point dogs.
The Giants are 1 point away from tying the score, and boy, Kyle Rudolph finally gets involved in the offense. And he's definitely a welcome. He's a sight for sore eyes to get him back. Boy, I'll tell you what, that was a well set up play. He made the block and then he kind of snuck out there and nobody covered him.
Julio Figueroa, Dak might be out another 2 weeks. It doesn't matter. I don't have. Let me bring up the Dallas Cowboys.
Who are the Cowboys playing the next couple of weeks? Because the Cowboys right now are just playing so well.
I mean, there's got to be division games coming up at some point. What's this? Denver 7. So they're home against Denver.
They'll beat Denver with or without.
So they got Denver who stinks. They got Atlanta. Atlanta's playing better.
Atlanta's not going to beat Dallas.
So maybe, if Cooper Rush plays, they could.
Miracle. Even if Cooper Rush plays those 2 games, they'll still win those 2 games. I mean,
then they got a tough stretch. They're at Kansas City, which I guess we'll see after tonight if Kansas City can get it right or they just stink this year. Then they play Vegas at home. That's a hard game. Vegas is good. And then they're at New Orleans.
So they got some tough games coming up.
So, like, they at the very least, they need Dak healthy November 21st at Kansas City.
Yes, I would agree.
I think maybe you hold Dak out again against Denver. Bring him back against Atlanta.
You don't bring him back until he's 100% because the Cowboys are running away with the East. There is absolutely no reason to risk any type of bodily harm to him.
Cooper Rush was not Dak Prescott last night, but he certainly didn't lose them the football game.
Rob, that last drive, he sure as hell looked like Dak Prescott. Let me tell you, that was an unbelievable drive for a guy who's never started an NFL game to do that on the road against a pretty good defense.
I hear you.
I mean, listen.
Look, their best chance. My point being,
Minnesota's defense is the definition of mediocre, which is 100 times better than what it was last year. But their defense is the definition of mediocre. I think they're 13th against the run. What did they say? 13th against the run and 16th against the pass. I believe those were the numbers they gave out.
Yeah, and I think a team like Minnesota is going to be right there for one of these last wild card spots in the NFC.
Yeah, and they don't have a difficult schedule. Wow, Mahomes almost threw a pick there.
That's to Bradbury. I mean, I don't know if he's just not seeing the field or he's in
what is going on
some type of funk. I don't know. This is not the Patrick Mahomes that I've seen play the last 2 years.
How can you miss James Bradbury? He was standing right there. I mean, listen, that would have been a great catch if Bradbury could have caught it. I mean, he's trying with one hand, but boy,
even if it gets over Bradbury's head, that safety, what is it, number 29?
He was right there.
He's biting on the route too.
Right. That was Love, and he was right there. Very strange. I mean, it's hard to figure out what is going on with Patrick Mahomes right now, and now he just throws it up for grabs.
Throws it away, and the Giants get another stop. This is not.
I'll tell you what.
This is not the Kansas City Chiefs I've watched over the past 2 seasons. Something is severely off.
Yeah, something is severely wrong with the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, I was expecting. I was really concerned that the Giants would just completely embarrass themselves tonight, especially after Jones threw that interception. It's not turning out that way. The Giants defense is really. Oh boy, here we go again. Oh, they recovered it. Boy, are they lucky. Chuck.
Like the Giants, they're not showing me anything special either. I mean, you had Ross make that big play.
Well, they were.
Who's that going right through the breadbasket? Number 13 there. Who's that? Shepard?
No, that's not Shepard. That's Sante Pettis.
I want to get more into this NFC though. I want to try and bring up the current NFC playoff picture.
Well, I think a lot of it depends on when Russ comes back. You know, if Seattle,
they're 3-5 though,
right, along with a million other teams. Everybody right now is 3-5. That's the thing.
It's like I think we're through 8 games now. We're through 8 weeks, which used to be the halfway point. It's not the halfway point anymore.
Yeah, it's pretty close though. So I mean, you sort of have an idea now of what's going on.
Look, I have the Cowboys schedule up right here. Their last game is January 9th against the Eagles. January 9th is still a regular season in today's NFL.
Wow.
Crazy.
Wow. And they finish with the Eagles?
Yes.
That could be good or that could be bad for the Eagles, depending on if the Cowboys have anything to play for. Because the Cowboys will have the division wrapped up way before then. But, you know, if they have a chance to have the best record or have a home playoff game, and they have something to play for, then it could be something. But they may not have anything to play for that last game, and I don't think they're going to try to get guys hurt just to beat the Eagles. I don't think they care that much, to be quite honest with you. Nothing against the Eagles, but I don't think the Cowboys – I know they don't like the Eagles, but it wouldn't make sense for them to play any critical players. I mean, if you have everything wrapped up, are you playing Zeke? Are you playing Dak? Hell no. You're resting them for the playoffs. So that actually could work in a positive way for the Philadelphia Eagles.
I'm trying to find one because I have one up right here. But it doesn't include yesterday's results. That my computer is just not cooperating.
Not cooperating right now?
No.
Really quick couple of scores, NBA scores. The Sixers right now have a 104-98 lead in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes and 15 seconds.
That's impressive because Joel Embiid is out because of his knee and Tobias Harris is out because of COVID protocols. So they don't have their two best players, and CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard are in for Portland.
Well,
so
who's this guy Niang? He has 19 points.
He came over from Utah. He's been on Utah for years. He's kind of like a stretch four. He can really shoot it. He's big and strong. He's a good player. That was a good signing.
Yeah, actually, he now has 21 points. I'm sorry.
I haven't seen him miss a three yet.
It's 104-98 with 5 minutes to go. So that would be a quality win, especially when you look at all the guys that are missing right now in the NBA. Cavaliers have an 11-point lead over the Hornets in the third quarter, late in the third quarter. The Pacers putting it on the Suns 103-80 in the third quarter. And the Celtics have an 8-point lead over the Bulls. The Hawks lead the Wizards by 3 at halftime. And the Knicks are losing 77-72 with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter.
The Knicks are good, though, Brad.
Yeah, that's your NBA scoreboard.
I'm really impressed with the Knicks so far this season.
They're
5-1 right now. Pending what happens right now.
They took a gamble, with bringing in Kemba and bringing back Derrick Rose, and it's worked out. And the two-headed point guard is working for the Knicks because neither one of them has to play too many minutes, so you don't have to worry about them getting hurt or being ineffective. And that's kind of the way it's going to be until they can actually draft a real solid kind of player. And boy, Sterling Shepard, that ball hit him right in the shoulder.
He's not that great.
That's just pathetic. Look at it. It hits him right in the shoulder. Or was it the hands?
I mean, it hits him in the shoulder. I guess it's got to be out in front of him a little, but I don't know.
He's a professional. I don't think he's very good. He's just, the problem with him is he's always getting hurt. Too many drop passes. This is his last year. He's going to be a free agent. I don't think the Giants.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Back.
I wouldn't.
I
wouldn't pay him any kind of money.
No, there's no reason to. The one position the Giants are not weak at is receiver. They're pretty good at receiver. It's the offensive line and the defensive line. They've got to address that in the offseason.
All right, let's do early leans, and we'll kind of meld that. So I can't find a playoff picture that is up to date. But I do agree to the poll that the Rams and the Bills, that's the
absolutely right.
Both the odds-on favorites to win their respective conferences.
Yeah, because they're gonna. I mean, the Rams are just so talented. It would take a miracle, and let's be honest, having Matthew Stafford at quarterback instead of what they had before is just huge for them. Matthew Stafford, you and I have always liked him, and now that he's got probably the strongest arm in the NFL next to maybe Josh Allen. I mean, having him back there is just huge. I mean he can do things that a lot of quarterbacks can only dream about. And unfortunately, he's been with a god awful team all these years. But now you're putting him with the Rams, and for the first time in his career, he's got a loaded team. He must be enjoying the hell out of being out in LA right now.
All right, let's look at early leans.
Having
Way too early
years, and then having Stafford, what a difference.
Way too early preview of Week 9 already in the NFL, brought to you by the Sunrise Detox Center. Robbie Lutman, everyone. Many of us in our families deal with mental health addiction issues. We are happy to support the Counseling Center at Sunrise Detox. If you need any mental health therapy support, addiction, detox, 856-651-8117. Tell them the boys here at A2D Radio sent you. Maybe they can help Calvin Ridley down in Atlanta. He's a gloomy goose. He's got the blues, and he can't play football anymore.
How about Kevin Love?
Kevin Love, is that why he's out? I saw that he's out.
Yep. He's
out. Ben Simmons, another one. Lane Johnson, Brandon Brooks. Get him the number. Tweet the number at him. Have Robbie Lutman and Sunrise Detox Center turn these frowns upside down.
Listen, there's
because
nothing.
We want to see them. We want to see these great athletes playing. But anyway, we got a Thursday game. That's a decent screenplay there by Kansas City. We'll monitor the Monday Night Football action here as well. But, Brad, the Thursday game is the New York Jets traveling to the Indianapolis Colts. Colts are a 10-point favorite.
After the Jets pulled off that great game.
See, now the Jets seem to get these wins against good teams at home.
Yeah, they don't do it on the road though.
They're going on the road.
Yeah, they're dog crap on the road. I think that I'm sorry. If I'm the Colts, I'm laying the lumber. Colts have to win that game. That's just if the Colts lose that game, they'd be 3-6. I mean, the Colts are not a 3-6 team.
4-5, you can.
4-5, they would at least have a puncher's chance to get back into it. Hey, 3-6, forget it. They're gonna win, and they'll win pretty easily. And I think at this point, as long as the offensive line of the Colts keeps the Jets' defensive line out of there, they'll be okay. Because that is the one area of strength on the New York Jets is that defensive line. It's pretty good. They can definitely get after the quarterback. Their secondary is terrible, though.
Sunday, 1 o'clock slate, the Buffalo Bills laying 14, traveling to Jacksonville. I'm laying the lumber here.
I would lay the lumber there, too, because the
Jaguars are horrible. I mean, Brad, Geno Smith yesterday picked them apart. That's embarrassing. Geno Smith is not good.
No, we've mentioned him a few times. We're mentioning bad quarterbacks, and he would be a bad quarterback.
I mean, I think he completed a franchise record for Seattle his first 15 passes of the game.
Wow.
Like, I mean, good Lord. I mean, Trevor Lawrence or no Trevor Lawrence.
I don't even think Geno Smith could do that in practice.
He did it in a real game against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I know. Yeah, no. The Buffalo Bills will score probably 40 points in that game, and so if they score 40 points, which I fully expect that they will do, and then there's no way the Jaguars are scoring 26 points against the Bills. So I like the Bills in that game.
It's good analysis. I totally agree with it.
Yeah, how many points do you think the Jaguars could score that game? The most 17, maybe
14, 17.
Yeah,
no way.
So
I don't think there's any way they get to 20 on that defense.
Yeah, the Bills will get will score in the 30s against them easily. Like I could see like 38-17, something like that.
Denver Broncos, they're traveling to Dallas. Even with questions at quarterback on who's going to start, Dallas is 9.5-point favorites.
You know what? I might take the 9.5 points.
I'm not. I'll lay the lumber there.
Denver.
Did Denver win yesterday? Did Denver end up winning yesterday?
You know, I don't recall. I
think they won.
Who did they? Yeah, they won 17-10. Who did they play
against Washington?
Yeah, they won 17-10.
Is that another pick?
Is that another pick
Patrick
from Mahomes? It sure is. Wait a minute, they're calling it incomplete.
Oh, they're certainly going to look at it. Let's look at it here on the replay. I thought it was a pick live.
Yeah, I did too, but maybe it was a trap.
That bounced.
Nah, it bounced. You're right.
Yep, it bounced.
Yeah.
The New England Patriots.
Good acting job on McKinney, though.
I'm sorry. Let's go to the Minnesota Vikings. Going to travel to Baltimore.
Baltimore should win that game pretty
Baltimore
easily.
-5. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. Baltimore is going to destroy the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings couldn't even beat the Cowboys without Dak Prescott. What are they going to do against a Lamar Jackson-led attack? And by the way, Baltimore coming off a bye, they're going to be rested.
And
they're going to be ready to go. Baltimore's at home.
Coming off getting humiliated at home at home against Cincinnati, they're going to come out. They're going to come out loaded for bear.
The Patriots travel to Carolina. Carolina is at home, and they are 3.5-point underdogs. I like the Patriots here.
Is McCaffrey playing?
Who knows?
Yeah, if McCaffrey's not playing, I'll take the Patriots.
We'll have to see. McCaffrey might not even be on the Panthers.
Yeah, that's true.
This time tomorrow.
That's true. When is he due back?
I don't know.
Yeah, I keep hearing
he's getting a reputation now. He's getting a bad reputation to be an injury-prone guy.
Yeah, well, he's been. Well, this is 3 years in a row now. He's been hurt. So you have to wonder about him.
But I mean, Mac Jones is growing on me. Mac Jones is really growing on me, and Damian Harris is a really good running back for the Patriots.
Yep.
And they have a lot of different pieces that they can move all around the football field on defense.
Bill Belichick's done a pretty nice job rebuilding that team. Let's be honest. You got to be fair. As much as nobody can stand Bill Belichick, he's quite the coach.
So I like the Patriots there.
He's got them highly competitive again. I mean, they gave the Cowboys one hell of a battle, and they gave the Tampa Bay Buccaneers one hell of a battle in those two games.
Very true.
They lost, but they really gave them a good fight.
Cleveland traveling to Cincinnati.
I don't know what to make of that game.
Cincinnati's a 2.5-point favorite at home.
I guess I think Cincinnati's going to bounce back.
I hope, since Cincinnati's been a fun story through the first half of this season, I hope that this Chiefs game, or not the Chiefs game, the Jets loss doesn't propel them and doesn't cause them to spin out of control.
Well, look,
I hope they stay in this thing.
It could have been the Jet game was your classic trap game, Rob. You had a situation. You just came off beating the Ravens, and then you've got the Jets, and then the following week you've got another big game. So maybe the Jet games are, you're playing one of your arch rivals, the Browns. The Jet game could have been a trap. I think they come back. I think they come back at home and they take care of business against Cleveland. I hope
so. I'm rooting for the Bengals.
I think Cleveland just might be checked out for the season. They just don't look. They don't have the look of a playoff team to me right now. Unless something drastic changes on that team, it's not going to be either.
Atlanta travels to the Superdome. Atlanta's +6 against the Saints. I like the 6 points here.
Atlanta +6 against the Saints.
Yeah, Atlanta's playing better.
They could stay in the game. I could see them staying in the game and keeping it close.
Boy, but that New Orleans
touchdown for the Chiefs was too easy.
I mean, this guy number 40, Derek Gore, whoever he is, he ran the ball up and down the field against the defense.
Yeah, I mean that was just too easy.
So we'll see if they make the extra point.
Yeah, it's going to be 14-7. I mean, the Chiefs did a hell of a job sealing off the corner. I mean, all he had to do was just run wide. He didn't have to cut or anything. Oh, what's going on here? A little
extracurricular activity.
Yeah, Giants showing a little fight. Good.
Here's a stink bowl for you. The Texans travel to Miami. Miami, a 7-point favorite.
What?
I like Houston here.
Miami shouldn't be a 7-point favorite against anybody.
I totally agree with you. That's exactly the same way I read this line. I'll take the Texans +7.
Tua is horrible. He's just not good. If Tua is even on the team next week,
Very true.
God only knows who the quarterback's going to be.
That'd be interesting if they made a trade tomorrow, Deshaun Watson to Miami, and then they play each other on Sunday. That'd be interesting.
That's been the so Deshaun Watson isn't suspended, is he?
No. He can play. Like, if the Texans wanted to, like, just have Deshaun Watson start the game on Sunday, he's eligible to play.
And they just won't start him because...
No, he wants out of there. They're done with him. He's done with them. He's got the legal issues, so they're just trying to tell him to stay away.
All they're going to do is sue him. He didn't really commit any criminal acts that they can prove.
But he's probably at the end of the day, when all this dust settles, he's going to get suspended. He might go to jail. Like, who knows? I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't either. But who knows? I don't want to say anything because I don't want to disparage.
But like, if the Eagles or the Dolphins or the Panthers or the Washington football team, if they trade for Deshaun Watson tomorrow at 4:00, he is 100% eligible to play right away until these legal proceedings play out, and he either has to pay out a bunch of money, has to go to jail, get suspended. But until all that's settled, he is eligible to play in NFL games.
So you might see he definitely could get traded then. It would make no sense for them not to trade him.
The Chargers
don't want him.
Getting into the 4:00 slate. Los Angeles Chargers coming east, visiting the Philadelphia Eagles. Chargers favored by 2.5.
I take the Chargers.
I would too.
I would take the Chargers. 2.5. 2.5 is not that many points. You know, I mean, if the Eagles were getting 4, which is what I think the line should be, and it could end up being that at the end of the week, that's another story. But if it's under 3, if it's 2.5,
seems light.
Yeah,
2.5 seems light.
Yeah, it does.
But like I said at the top of the show, I mean, a lot of this cachet and all this shine that the Chargers had with Herbert, it's kind of gone away. You know, you lose to the Patriots.
Yeah, but
you can't stop the run.
You also kind of have to look at who they played to and who they've beaten and who they've lost to. And you know, I don't think the defense.
Brad, the win, and I can speak to that because the win that really made you go, "Whoa, the Chargers are for real," is when they went into Arrowhead and beat Kansas City.
Right, but
that's not a great win.
No, not really. Kansas City is going all out to try to beat the lowly Giants right now. So, yeah, if the Giants would stop getting out of their own way, maybe they'd be ahead in this game. You know, the Giants in this game have been their own worst enemies.
Arizona travels to San Francisco. Niners 2.5-point home dogs. I like the Cardinals here to bounce back.
You know what? I'm going to take San Francisco. I just have a feeling that the air is going to come out of their balloon, and they're going to lose a couple of games. Because I could see the Cardinals just getting very physical with that Arizona team. I like the 49ers to pull the upset.
Next Sunday night, Tennessee Titans travel to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. It's a 7.5-point line. I don't really think there's much to talk about here. I'm laying the 7.5 all day against a Derrick Henry-less Tennessee Titans team.
Yeah, the Rams right now are in cruise control. They're the best team in the NFL right now, and I don't think anybody or anything is going to stop that train right now.
And then next Monday, the Bears travel to Pittsburgh. The Steelers are a 6.5-point favorite. I love the Steelers in this game.
Yeah, the Bears stink.
They absolutely stink. Sixers get a big win tonight. No Embiid, no Harris. Not a problem against the Portland Trailblazers. Good for them. Brad, is Houston going to
win? That's a solid win.
Brad, is Houston going to do something crazy here and come back from 3-1 and beat the Braves?
No, I don't think so. You know what? The Braves have unfortunately, last night Charlie Morton didn't pitch, because if Charlie Morton was able to pitch, the World Series would have been over already. But you know what? They're not going to. That was a big loss. That was a big loss, because that was the game Charlie Morton was supposed to pitch, and instead you had they had to use their bullpen again, and the guys were tired and they got whacked around, and that's just what happened. I think the extra day of rest, free going on full rest, the bullpen being rested, I think that the series ends tomorrow. All right. And if it doesn't, you know what? If it doesn't, then they still have Jethro Tull in the hole, Ian Anderson. So,
all right, that'll do it for the Sports Hounds Flight Zone. Coming up next, thank you, Frank. Thank you to everyone who liked, commented, subscribed to the show. Thank you to our great sponsors. He's Brad Ryer. I'm Rob Brinkman. Peace out, everybody.